Our next speaker is Dr. Soumi Chatterjee from India, the founder and CEO of SRTD Group, Vidhi Vaarta. She is an author, certified trainer on POSH and gender sensitization, and the editor of Dune Journal of Multidisciplinary Research. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I hope I'm audible clearly to everyone.
Yes,
Um, Firstly, thank you for inviting me to this wonderful symposium today and to address, to be among such learned people, to be in front of, speaking in front of Honorable Justice Madam Vimla, Professor Tiwari, Dr. Patil. Such learned people are there. I'm very, very honored to be here in this platform. Um, Thank you, Nyaya Shastra, for this, for organizing this symposium, um, and respected all the fellow citizens of the world as people from other parts of the world who have also joined here. Um, Before me, Professor Tiwari sir had, quoted verses from the Vedas, and he spoke about how India's role and how India believed in the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam as the world as one family, and one quote that Dr. Patil ma'am has said that the attitude of India is, taking everybody and walking together, and that is what solidarity and that is what togetherness is all about, and that is what is required in today's world. So I will focus on especially what India has been doing to keep up the world peace, as other members of the world has also joined, and highlighting my country in front of everyone is my favorite thing to do. But talking about peace in today's fragmented world, in a world which is more on divided through polarization, and there are multiple challenges that we face about justice and peace. I think peace, justice, and solidarity is what not just India, but the entire world, that is the planet Earth, that we are looking forward to. And yet, in these fractured times, we want to forge a new path, one guided by solidarity, international law, and collective actions. Our focus, accordingly, is on how nations, especially India, can lead the world towards sustainable peace and justice through collaborations and principled laws. So we are witnessing an age of which is marked by competent legal regimes, fears of influence, and shifting alliances. That we can see a lot of alliances has been shifting throughout the geopolitics that that we are witnessing at present. So this fragmentation erodes the unity of global norms, resulting in conflicting standards, and at times paralyze the institutions which are unable to address various crises around the world that are taking place right now. The risk is very clear. If the world becomes a mosaic of isolated interests, justice and peace may become unattainable ideas, rather than the reality that we are living in right now, that we are seeking for. Uh, Professor Tiwari had quoted a lot of verses from the Vedas, and it was wonderful hearing those Vedas, because India, since a very, very long time, from our ancient past, we have believed in certain principles. And the foundation of India's approach in peacekeeping stretch far back into ancient times. So the ancient Indian society, despite frequent wars, developed an ethical framework for conflict and governance. um, the speakers prior to me had mentioned about Ramayana, Mahabharat. There are texts such as Arthashastra, which emphasizes on the use of force which they term that is dand. Dand means punishment, that we know, but it is a dand that and should these were guided by justice, proportionality, and greater good, and not arbitrary violence, not to cause unnecessary violence. Dand, if we wanted to inflict on somebody, we wanted to punish somebody, it was for the greater good of the society. That is mentioned in Arthashastras. So kings were urged to rule with compassion and fairness, and to pursue diplomacy and conciliation first before moving towards any warlike situation. That would have been the last resort. For example, Emperor Ashoka's embrace of ahimsa, that is non-violence, and diplomatic outreach to the Southeast Asia, exemplifies early ideals that predate modern international humanitarian law, including Geneva Conventions and norms protecting civilians during conflict times. So, how do we transcend these fragmentations that we see around us? The answer lies between building bridges among communities, nations, and institutions. Um, the we have a clear through these building bridges that I think Madam Patil had very correctly pointed out that walking together, building bridges, not just we're talking about inter-country, but what we are doing in our society, and the also the pathway to sustainable peace. See, when we talk about sustainable peace, it is we are giving something to our generations to come. We it is what we are talking about peace today, but we are also looking forward to the later generations, which we want to see them live in peace, to live in a society that is you know like we want, like carefree, not worrying about the judgmental eyes, or not worrying about the gender my previous sir had already spoken, the gender atrocities. So that kind of peace is also that we are looking forward to. So first point is strengthening global and national framework for equitable resources use. Second, supporting conflict management mechanisms, blending legal procedures with local wisdom, ensuring inclusive governance where every voice can shape decisions. We are talking we have gathered here today. We hold a post in society, we are speaking up, but when society, every person's voice will be heard, and every person's voice will matter. I think that is the day when solidarity, the true meaning of solidarity, will I think will we will achieve that. So these pathways align with United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 16, calling for peace, justice, and very strong institutions. India's advocacy combines this ancient wisdom and modern pragmatism. Um, Talking about, I told you that I've been focusing on India's achievements in building world peace. So since 1950s, India had contributed over 290,000 troops to more than 50 United Nations peacekeeping missions worldwide, establishing itself as the largest troop contributor globally. This commitment is embedded in the mandate of the United Nations Security Council under Chapter 6 and 7 of the United Nations Charter, which authorizes peacekeeping operations to maintain and restore international peace and security. India's participation in peacekeeping, for example, in countries like Korea in 1953, Congo, Liberia, South Sudan, Lebanon, demonstrates various adherence to legal mandates of the United Nations and respect for sovereignty and non-intervention principles. So, also, as Sir had spoken earlier about gender justice and how gender justice to be maintained, that India's peacekeepers follow a very strict rule when engagement inconsistent with international humanitarian law and human rights conventions. The deployment of India's all-women formed police unit to Liberia in 2007 also aligns with Security Council resolutions on gender equality in peace and security. We all know that India always helps the neighboring country to acquire peace. We have witnessed it in during the 1971 war, during the East Pakistan, now Bangladesh times, when India helped end the widespread atrocities and displacement. Then also it played a major role in other parts of the conflict and around from around the world. Now we see about the Russia Ukraine or the Palestinian people, how from the Go Bold platform, India had supported non-violence and to stop the war. Also, I would mention here the evolving jurisprudence and the and how I see that the International Court of Justice matters, and how the General Assembly debates that indicates that preventing gross human rights violation is an accepted rationale under evolving customary law. Examples that I've already given you. Another example can be say that how, Muthu sir had mentioned, that solving problems through arbitration. We have another example how India's acceptance to the boundary arbitration in the Run of Kutch during 1965 dispute with Pakistan settled peacefully through international arbitration under the International Court of Justice. So this is one of the prime examples how we entered into arbitration and spoke it out and solved the dispute verbally. Also, Indian courts increasingly invoke in the international conventions such as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the Convention on the Child of Rights, and several other rights. We regularly invoke in the court of law as interpretive guides consisting with the Indian Constitution's fundamental rights, such as the Article 15 of the Constitution, which reinforces India's global legal commitments. Um, Also, that India has again actively participates and leads in the multilateral organizations, including the United Nations, BRICS, G20, Quad. There are several platforms where India has played a very, very major role to support peace and to bring what we are calling solidarity. Within these platforms, India pushes for to reforms to make global governance more representative and inclusive. See, the word is inclusivity when we talk about we should walk together. Acceptance that matters the most. We have to accept uh, things. We have to accept, like madam, I loved Dr. Patil's talk, because she it is very important for us to understand that inclusivity, when we are talking about not just each country, but individually as well, that I first have to become the on the acceptance end. I will first accept the other's flaw, and only then I can grow. I cannot criticize all the time and expect things will automatically grow. I have to grow myself, and only then the surrounding around me will grow. For example, if you work in a company, you can't just expect that I only growth for myself. No, if the company grows, you grow. Likewise, if your country develops, if your country is peaceful, you develop, you are peaceful. So I think I've listed some the roles of India that has been in. Another example that I can say that about the recognizes peace's link and sustainable development. India leads global climate initiatives such as COP30. Then India's global partnership in health, education, and skill development through doctrines like Mahasagar. These are things that India is regularly doing to keep up to and keeping in touch with the world, keeping you know bringing the world together. And like the vaccines, India developed a vaccine, provided the vaccines to the countries with where It was required, not thinking that we have developed it and we will not give anybody else. No, we have developed something which is for the world and it will be going out to the world. So, India's balanced geopolitical approach blends strategic autonomy, multilateral leadership, development cooperations. There are technological collaborations around the world, soft power projections to uphold peace and solidarity in today's fragmented world. And in conclusion, I would like to say that India's legacy of peacekeeping, rooted in ancient ethical principles and modern legal commitments, illustrate how nation can move beyond divisions and achieve sustainable peace and justice. Guided by international law and the spirit of global solidarity, India leads by example, showing that the rule of law and compassionate diplomacy remain the pillar of a peaceful world. And I will end with, today is a very auspicious day. As a Bengali, today is Mahalaya, the awakening of Devi. The Devi Paksha started today. And I will end with a prayer that Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shanti Rupena Sangastita Namastasya 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 Namo Nama. We ask for the blessings of the Divine Mother to bless us all with peace, to India, to the world. And thank you once again for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your enlightening speech.